The fifth state in the Union, but the first state in our hearts. The state of Connecticut has a long and storied history of success on and off the athletic fields, and 22 Threads is your go to apparel brand for all things CT. Visit the 22 Threads website at www.22threads.com to shop their stores and blue collar football apparel collections now. 10% of each item sold is donated to a local Connecticut nonprofit organization. Look good, do good, because you love CT. Okay, the football season continues on. UConn's heading to play Rice down in Texas this week. So to preview that game and to look back at last week, we've got Jackson Mitchell back. So Jackson, welcome back as always.
Appreciate it.
So let's start by looking back at last week. I know as you know the team was looking to turn the page on the Duke game and some of the slow starts of this season. Seemed like things started to come together a little bit more for the team in the game against Utah State. How did you feel coming out of that game on Saturday?
Obviously after any loss, I would say it's hard to feel like positive, I guess, especially the way the season's going. But there was definitely some good things to take away from it, which we obviously tried to do, and it was definitely heartbreaking the way it ended too, obviously. But yeah, just try to take away the good things because like you can dwell on the loss for a little bit, but eventually you got to move on, and we got 7 more games, so you can't kind of get stuck on it. But definitely some frustration and disappointment, but also some positivity, knowing in the first half the defense played like pretty much lights out, and the offense put up 33 points, which is like that's winning football right there.
Yeah.
Like we got to be able to hold down on defense for us if we put up 30 points plus for sure.
I know one thing that I think Coach Moore had mentioned heading into the game was that the defense hadn't necessarily forced a lot of turnovers, and that changed in this game, including yourself. Picked off a pass. How did it feel to kind of get back on track that way in terms of forcing some turnovers and putting your offense in a good position, good field position, coming off those turnovers?
Yeah, it felt good. Obviously, that's something that we've been kind of like stressing because we know how important it is and what it means to the game if you get turnovers. So obviously we got 2 early ones and we slowed down as the second half went on, which we would like to see at least one more in the second half. And we definitely had some chances at it. We just got to get after the ball, but it's good obviously to see at least like we got 2 of them and we kind of got the ball rolling a little bit, but definitely got to capitalize on more chances for sure.
So midway, maybe through the second half, the Utah State quarterback gets hurt with injury there, comes out of the game, and now you're going up against another quarterback. I know I'm sure you spent most of the week prepping for the quarterback that was in. How do things change once you're on the field and now you've got a whole new quarterback out there with a slightly different skill set?
Yeah, I think that quarterback had started the season for them, and then he obviously struggled, and then that's when they brought in the freshman who started playing well. So we've definitely seen some tape on him, and we knew like he was obviously a capable player. He was an older player than the freshman that was starting. But they kind of ran similar stuff with him. I think more of it was kind of our own doing. We kind of gave him some of those big plays, which just ended up with costing us. But yeah, he was obviously a good player. He's a good player. He went in there. I think he only had 2 incompletions and he had 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, which obviously flipped the game. So it's definitely tough when you're kind of shutting down one guy and then another guy comes in and kind of goes lights out. But they were doing all the same stuff, really.
So I know we probably have some more fun talking about this if it had ended in a win, but your defensive counterpart, Jelani, going off offensively. You surprised by the success he's had on the offensive side of things?
Um, yes and no. I would say obviously last year they kind of teased it that we might do it, but we actually never did it. And this year, obviously, I knew like in those dives, like I knew that he was going to score and he was going to get the first down every time. He's just too strong and too powerful. Obviously, I lift with him and play with alongside him. I've seen him do some crazy things. But the one that surprised me was definitely the catch. Like
Yeah.
it was play action. I thought he was going to be because when I heard they were going to throw it on this one, like I was nervous, but like I thought they're going to think it's a run, so he's going to be wide open. And then he ended up being covered. So the catch is kind of what surprised me a little bit, but. I mean, he made it work. He's an athletic guy, and I hope they keep adding new stuff to the package for sure.
What position would you want to be on offense if you had to go in for a few snaps on the other side of the ball?
Probably like tight end or something, do a little blocking and maybe catch some out routes, nothing too crazy.
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosol's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a UConn fan owned business. And now back to the interview. As you look back on that Utah State game, I mean, you mentioned the first half, you guys, almost pitched a shutout in that first half. What were you able to take away from that you're applying towards, the game this week against Rice and into the future of, what the defense can do?
Yeah, I think just for us, like you saw when everyone's communicating, everyone's being disciplined and we're all locked in and focused and flying around to the ball. I think our effort was a lot better this game than it's been in the past. So when you're doing those things, you can kind of cover for each other. If someone does slip up and you're flying around, like someone can cover for each other, but like just swarming to the ball is kind of make plays. You saw Chris, he ran to the
Yeah.
ball as they threw it and he got that interception. So that's kind of where the plays are going to come, and that's something that we have to continue to build on because our effort was pretty good, and that's how we're going to win games here on defense for sure.
I know it's been a really tough start to the season. How are things in the locker room after a game like that? Lead in for parts of that game, ultimately having a chance to tie, and then it just doesn't go your way on that extra point at the end. Yeah, how is it that, whether it's the coaching staff, leadership within the team, kind of picks everyone up to, move on to Rice and kind of put that game behind you?
Yeah, I think for that one, especially the way it went, like for 24 hours, you're definitely gonna be hurting and wondering what went wrong because obviously you can point at that last play for it to cost us, but it really there was a lot of things that led up to that play.
Mhm.
It should never been in that position to begin with. And kind of the defense kind of takes a lot of responsibility for that as well. So you kind of just look back on what you could do better and what you can improve on because obviously we had another one this week and kind of you can't just like throw in the towel or anything. You got to keep going, you got to keep working and try to get yourself better. And if everyone just works on themselves and goes a little bit harder and works on what they can do a little bit better, hopefully a new result will come.
From your point of view, from that that defensive mindset, getting to look and see what Taekwon has done of late. It seems like he's getting more comfortable out there. It seems like he really put together his most complete game of the season so far. Are you seeing whether it's from practice and games, seeing a guy who's becoming more and more comfortable as the leader of this team at the quarterback position?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously last year he got hurt really, really early and then this year he didn't start the season. So he hadn't played a lot of football as a starting quarterback for a while. So obviously now that he's played some games, you can see him getting more comfortable and that's something you see in practice all the time. And his leadership is amazing and he works so hard the way he watches film and he practices. So it was to be expected. I knew eventually, that was going to come and I just expect him to continue to get better and the offense to continue to keep rolling because I think they put in a good performance last game.
So you guys head down to Rice this week. I know it's been a nice homestand here in terms of you haven't been on the road for a little bit. How are you feeling heading into a road game and getting back out there, going down to Texas this time?
I feel good. It has been a while. Obviously, we had three straight home games. But I don't mind road games. And it'll be exciting. I've never been to Houston, and they're a good team. They're a good opponent, so it's another challenge for us. But I think it's just another opportunity to kind of get our first win. So I'm excited and kind of antsy to play so we can get that first win and we can get on the board a little bit. But I'm ready and I'm excited, and I think the team is kind of ready too.
Hey, we know the last time a UConn team went down to Houston, I think we all know what happened then. So hopefully
Yeah.
you keep the UConn winning streak in Houston alive there. As you're taking a look at this matchup, what kind of sticks out to you about this Rice team you're going up against on Saturday night?
I mean, yeah, I think it all starts with the quarterback. He's obviously coming out of high school. He was a really talented guy. He was the number one quarterback in his class, and he's been at some big schools, had a lot of experience. He's played a lot of football, so he knows where to go with the football. He knows how to make good decisions, and they kind of throw it all over the place a little bit. They've kind of been struggling with the run game. That doesn't mean they're not going to run, but they're kind of leaning on their pass right now and leaning on that quarterback who's really talented. And then as far as the running back, he's pretty good too. He's dynamic. He catches a lot of passes for them. Considering they're not too good at the run right now, but he's catching a lot of passes for them, and he's a dynamic player. That's someone you got to kind of keep in check.
I'm curious if this is anything you guys do. As I'm just was looking again at Rice's schedule, I know they just played USF. You guys will be playing in a few weeks. When you're looking at game film, are you looking at both opponents when you happen to get two teams you're going to be playing against playing each other? Do you take any extra looks at both sides of the team, both sides of those teams on the ball there?
No, not too much. I think you'll definitely look at the score. Obviously, if like two teams that you're going to play, you want to see how they match up against each other. And if USF blew them out or something, then you'd be like, all right, well, USF is probably a pretty good team.
Yeah,
But I don't pay too much attention to them until obviously we get them after the bye week. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the teams we played this year have been playing each other, which is kind of
yeah.
interesting. So I definitely just kind of gonna be interesting going back, and now you're looking at different perspective. Like Utah State played JMU, and later in the season we'll go back and watch it in reverse and watch JMU instead of Utah State.
Knowing you have a bye coming up next week, is this like, does it give you a little extra motivation? Like, hey, let's go all out this game. Like, we're going to have a chance to kind of really take a little bit of a breather after this. Like, it's been a tough first half of the season. We've got this game here. Let's go all out and, get a chance to kind of recuperate a little bit more afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just this being like the halfway point of the season too, you want to be able to get one before we start that run in the second half of the season. And considering how many games are left, like it's important to get one right now. So I think that's our main focus, and we can, like it's going to be worse knowing if you don't get it done, then you got a whole week and you're not playing, and you don't get a chance to kind of make it up at all. So you definitely want to just focus on this game and get the job done so you can enjoy your time off a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, obviously got to end with a little bit of Giants talk. I know it has been the best start of the season for them either, but Saquon's been out, so you get a little bit of
Yeah.
a crutch to lean back on there. Thoughts on the Giants, and you expecting a little bit of a bounce back from them in the coming weeks?
I mean, I try to be a positive person. I'm not much of a quitter or anything like that, but it's definitely been tough considering last year we weren't supposed to go as far as we did, and then we made to the playoffs in the divisional round. So for them to start this season this way, it's kind of disappointing. But yeah, I definitely hope they turn it around. Maybe if they can start blocking a little bit better, I think things will be better for us. But yeah, that one was another disappointing one. I don't know why they keep putting us on prime time for everyone to just watch, but
Hey, they better have that game against the Jets in prime time, right? I mean,
yeah,
battle for New York there.
for sure.
But Jackson, as always, really appreciate you coming on. Best of luck this week against Rice, and enjoy the bye week, and we'll talk heading into the next game.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anytime.